Okay, so we're on to my favourite stage, polypainting. Right, I've got my usual setup. I've brought in a plane of geometry and I've limited my colour palette intentionally so they just have easily accessible paints. It's the same logic you'd have if you were an oil painter. You'd have a palette and you'd squirt out your paints to start with. It stops colour blindness, that if you've got access to too many colours at the outset, you can go crazy. This way, you find yourself limited to having to mix certain colours to get complementary tones and shades. It's just a trick that's served me really well from being a traditional artist. So you just hit C when you want to cherry pick a colour as a sample. And I've actually got the model, it's not quite at the highest subdivision level, so you get a softness to the paint. I'm also using Alt to smooth, but just with RGB selected. So you get a mixture of almost dry brushing, airbrushing, and smoothing the paint on the surface. And I know this deviates from the colour palettes shown in the Jurassic Park films, but it keeps the logic of this kind of creature, this kind of predatory creature, that it's got a dark top side and a light underside. That strangely holds true for marine creatures as well. There's just something that resonates in your subconscious that this kind of works. And again, I'm limiting myself to my palette colours. It's almost like underpainting, and that's a traditional term. That I'm pre-highlighting and emphasising where I want the dark tones to appear. They may well be washed over completely on the final thing. But I like to step back up through the subdivision levels and use cavity masking. The cavity slider has a positive and negative value, so you can switch from highlighting paint on the surface to deepening the colours or lightening the tones in the crevices. That's just pre-preparing some darker tones in the crevices. Then switch to the different setting on cavity mask to highlight over the surface to pick out the details. I mean, you're almost painting light with colour as well. And my normal workflow is that I'd actually produce the albedo in Zbrush and take that into Substance Painter, because I've never had a successful session in Substance Painter where I've tried to successfully paint the surface of a ZBrush model. It doesn't feel intuitive. It feels like potato printing. It just feels like stamping colour. Some people excel at it. I prefer to take some basic colour information into Substance Painter at the outset. And later in this video I'll just show you the process for producing an 8K albedo. So we're taking shape now. And again, I like to almost squint at some of these stages, because you can get too wrapped up on the detail and you can spend an hour staring at something. You've got to see your work in the whole. Here I'm just dragging a basic texture over the eye. The eye is something that deserves a lot more attention further down the pipeline, but I just need something there so it grabs my attention when I look at it. Here I've just got some blobs on a texture. I'm using drag rect with Polypainting just to break up the surface. You could actually spray this on as well instead of drag rect. Just breaking up this back line and then smoothing it down as well. It's little visual tricks. This is kind of stuff that a creature may well evolve in nature for camouflage. And I'm sure you know it, but keep your reference available. I've got so many folders on my desktop with inspirational images. If I see somebody else's work that inspires me, in it goes. I've got so much creature reference as well. And we're nearly ready to call this one done. Again, I hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I'm enjoying producing them at the moment. I welcome your feedback, comment away in the comment section. And I will try and keep the videos uploaded on a regular basis. Okay, claws done. Kind of think we're about done here. So, let's make a texture. I always do a BPR just to see what the shadows look like. So I'm kind of happy with this now. What I like to do is just hit the BPR button as well, just to see how the surface looks with shadows. Then you can go down to the texture palette, texture from Polypaint, any resolution you like. And there we have it. Thank you.